we'll be talking about lessons in leadership. The reason why we pick lessons in leadership is that we notice there's a great deal of people, not only within our circle, but within our view, who are aspiring to be leaders, and we see a little bit of struggle there. So we figured if we can bring it, to the forefront on the call tonight and just cover a few pointers, few principles you can apply, and then at the end of the call, open it up to, open dialogue if you guys have any questions, or if anyone wants to chime in with any sort of information, we can go over that at the end there. So leadership. We always want to lead from the front, not from the rear. Why is that? It's better to lead from the front, because when you're leading from the front, you're not only leading with your words, but you're leading by demonstration. So the people who are following you can hear what you're saying to them, but also they can view you doing things that are in alignment with the things that you're suggesting to them. Now, when you lead from the rear, if you would imagine a guy on a sled with a couple of huskies pulling that sled, he's leading that sled from the rear. So what is he doing? He's shouting commands, and then he's also reprimanding them if they, don't follow those commands. So you don't really want to lead from the back. Leading from the back is more of a management thing. You want to stay in leadership. You want to be in the front. You want people to be able to see you and see what you're doing and see that your actions are lining up with your words. Because that falls into integrity, and that could make or break you as a leader. Also, when you're in a leadership, position, all eyes are on you. People are watching you. People are interested in what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're moving. So when you're in that leadership position, you don't want to become too transparent. You want to have relationships or, friendships, but you don't want to let people so much in or give them so much information about you on a personal level that they become familiar with you. Because once people become too familiar with you, or they feel as though they figured you out, it becomes extremely harder for them to receive you, or for them to receive the things that you want them to receive, things that you're telling them, or things that you feel might benefit them. They might not receive that because they're familiar with you. So, you don't want people to become too familiar with you, because once they become too familiar with you, they might not be able to receive you. Now, if you think about it, and I know everyone online has ran into this situation, have you ever had someone, let's say maybe even a boyfriend, girlfriend, or brother or sister, who you've given continuous advice to, the same advice? Like, no, I don't think you should do this. I don't think you should do this. Or maybe you should do that. Maybe you should do this. And it just seems like they can't hear you. And then someone else comes along, maybe a new friend that they met, or someone they haven't seen in a while, and they give them that same exact advice. And it's like they're hearing it for the first time. And that's because they are hearing it for the first time. All those times that you were saying it to them, they couldn't receive it because they already felt as though they had figured you out, and there was nothing that you can tell them that would be outside the realm of what they expected you to tell them. So they couldn't receive that. Now, another thing, and this also goes with, letting people figure you out. As a leader, I'm going to say you want to maintain a little bit of mystery. Now, not secrets, not anything that's, deceitful or devious or anything like that, but you want to maintain a little bit of mystery in that you never want to stop growing. You always want to grow. You always want to learn new things. When people come in contact with you, or when people meet you or sit down with you, they should have that feeling of, I wonder what they're going to say, or I wonder if I say this to them, how are they going to respond? What direction are they going to send me? So have that mystery and continue to grow yourself, so that way when you're in familiar situations, you can approach them from different angles. Because that keeps the mystery, the magic. It keeps people engaged, or it keeps people wanting to come back to see, which angle you're going to come from, or what new things have you learned that you can pass on to them to help them with their current situation. So always keep that mystery and never stop growing, because things are changing constantly. Things are changing. Things are moving and changing. The times are changing. Business is changing. Personal relationships are changing. The way that we interact, everything's just changing and evolving. So if you're in a leadership position, you have to change. You have to evolve with the times, with the people. When things are spinning, you have to be spinning a little bit faster. You have to be ahead of that curve in order to lead. Because if not, you fall behind the pack. And once you're behind the pack, you're no longer leading from the front. Now you're leading from the back, like we spoke about earlier. And you have to lead a little bit more aggressively to try to get yourself back to the front. And that's where people can go astray there. And not last, but after this point here, I'll pass it over to Zay. In a leadership position, you never want to have an attitude of fulfillment. You never want to have that attitude like, you know what, I've been doing this a long time. I've been through this situation, that situation. I know how to handle these things, you know. I know what to do in this situation. I know what to do in that situation. Or someone comes to you with an idea, hey, I think we should do this. You know what, that won't work because, you know, I've been doing this a long time and we tried that before and it didn't work. You don't want to have that reserve of, you know, I've been here, I've done that, or, you know, I've been through such and such a thing, so I know a little bit more than you know type of thing. You know, you want to have an attitude of curiosity because curiosity is going to enable you to look at everything with an open mind and be curious of, well, you know what if we try that again? Or what if, you know, last time we did it like this and it didn't work, but maybe if we just do this time around, that'll make it a little bit different and that might work. It keeps you open, so it keeps you in a position where you can continue to grow with new ideas that people might bring to you or new ideas that might pop up in your head. You're not going to shut those down yourself. You know, you might give that chance, and that edge of curiosity breeds adventure. And adventure is going to bring you to new grounds, you know, new places that you've never been. And when things are new, things are exciting. So when things are new and exciting for you, the group that's following you, those things are going to be new and exciting for them as well. And that energy will drive you to amazing places. So at this point right here, I'm going to pass it over to Zay. Zay, if you want to speak a couple points to them, and then we'll go back in a moment.
All right, cool. How you guys doing today? Don't mind me, I'm out of breath. I'm in the middle of doing my squats right now. So I have a few points. It's kind of odd. I was just telling Jay that I was only going to stick to a few points tonight because I've been kind of like overloading everybody on the call. I need to make sure that I give you guys enough to digest. You know, you guys can implement them. I don't want to give you too much that you can't, you know, that you fail to employ a lot of the stuff. So a lot of the points that I wanted to give, he had already hit. Talking about leading from the front. Which is my first point, actually. Now, when you're leading from the front, I'm going to reiterate a little bit. It's as if the way you lead from the front is this. You don't ever ask or you don't ever delegate a position to someone else that you can't already do for yourself. Because leadership comes with accountability. So that means if they delegate and the job isn't getting done, they could easily step up in that weak area and get it done so that there's no lag. That's what leaders do. They pick up the slack. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody, hey, go and train this person for me. You know what I mean? I got to go over here and handle this business week, yada, yada, yada. Now, on the flip side of that, I've been on the end where someone has told me, hey, Zay, can you go handle this for me? I got to go do something. And I didn't complain or do any of that. You know what I mean? Like, because part of being a leader is being a server. A good leader serves the people. It's not about, like, self-fulfillment, like, oh, yeah, I just want to do this because, this is what I'm going to get out of it. It's more of a, this is what they need. And so I know I have what they need. I'm going to supply it. You know what I mean? A leader is a server. Another thing, too, about leaders, he said you lead with demonstration. And that's a very key point. I hope you guys got your notebooks out. You need to write this down. You lead by demonstration. Because it's not what you know. You could talk all you want. You could talk all you want. You could read all the books you want, even though leaders are readers. But they don't just read. They implement the things they read. They put those things to use. So it's not about what you know. It's about what you show. Leaders are doers. You know what I mean? So it's not about what you know. It's about what you show. There's power in your actions. That's another reason why you lead from the front. You demonstrate and show them this is how it's done. So that way when you step aside, because that's what leaders do, they actually raise other leaders. They're not lords over people. They're not like, you're my peasant. How dare you fool. Bow before me. That's not a leader. You know what I mean? That's not how they are. What they're doing is they're raising future leaders. And that's why it's important for them to lead from the front. How else can you show somebody how to drive? You know what I mean? They first watch you drive. I know when I learned how to drive, I was learning by watching my dad drive a stick. And no one ever told me this is what you do, and then you go here, and then you do this. Nope, I just jumped behind the wheel at the age of 14 and started driving a standard. Matter of fact, when I did my road test, before my road test, I went to a driving school, and the teacher was like, I only did it because when you go to a driving school before you get your license, you get points, discount for insurance. So I was doing it so I didn't have to pay too much for insurance. So I'm in the car, and the guy's like, go over here, blah, blah, blah. I took off, started driving, and he was like, you've done this before. I was like, a little bit. He said, no, he said, I feel like I'm driving. But I would have never got that experience had I not watched a leader in the front line showing me what to do. You know what I mean? That's some key vital points there. Another thing about leadership is not just accountability, but discipline. A leader is a very good student. Very good student, as he was saying. He took all my points. It's a very good student. So, I'm serious. He took all my points. The reason why it's important for a leader to this is why you got to stay studious. This is why you got to be a good learner. It's very important for you to stay 10 steps ahead of the pack. Why? Because it's the leader's responsibility to point out the dangers of where you're going. That's why it's very important to have a mentor or a leader in your life, because they can save you years of aggravation. One time of favor saves you a lifetime of labor when you're dealing with a good leader. Picture this. A leader's walking down the road, and there's this big hole in the middle of the road. And he needs to get on the other side of that hole because he's going to go and retrieve some medicine. Let's say someone's sick, he needs some medicine. Right? And so he found out, because there's no resources around for him to get across, build a bridge. So what he found out was if he went back 10 paces and ran at his full potential and leaped forward, he could clear that hole with 5 to 7 paces left, ahead of the hole. So now he comes back and he's tending to some patients. He's like, man, we're going to need some more medicine. Hey, Che, I'm going to need you to go down this path. and go grab me some medicine. Now, had he not already been 10 steps ahead of Jay and just sent Jay off on his way, like, yeah, just go do that, and not, point out any things he should watch out for, this, that, and the third. Jay's going to go walking down that thing, see the hole, not know how to get over the hole, so he's going to just try to stand at the edge of the hole and then just jump over and hope that he could grab the other end with his hand. Because he wasn't told, hey, you need to be 10 paces behind that hole, sprint, and then at the very last step, you want to lunge your body forward, and it's going to give you enough momentum to clear it. The leader didn't tell him that. So he's at the edge just looking down into the pit, and then he's like, I got to get over. Let me just try to jump, and then I'll grab the other end with my hands and pull myself up. So then Jay jumped, and his hands don't make it to the other end. So now he's stuck in the ditch. He's stuck in that hole, calling out for help. Nobody can hear him. Nobody knows he's there. He's trying to climb out. He's having difficulties climbing out, and that's what it is. When you don't have a leader that's ahead of the pack, you find yourself in positions and situations in your life where it's like hard to dig yourself up. Because a good leader lets you know of all those things. Like, yo, you don't want to do this, you want to do that. That brings me to another point about proteges or the people who are learning from the leaders, but that's a whole other story. But that's one of the most important keys that I felt was important for you guys to know as a leader. Lead from the front, lead with your demonstration, and be studious. Be 10 steps ahead of the people. Have integrity, have accountability, have discipline, have consistency, have persistence. And then another key point that I'll give you is when you're leading from a distance. And this is another point that I'm gonna give you as to why you're leading from the front, because people are watching you. There are people who watch you that you don't even know that you're leading. When you're a leader and a good leader, people watch you that you don't even know are watching you. And they're waiting for you to slip so that they can say, oh, I knew he wasn't a leader. Oh, I knew he wasn't that good. You know what I mean? And you never know who's watching until they reveal themselves. Like, I'll give you an example and then I'll close it out. Like on Facebook, I had gotten a message, and I'm always posting like things that I know or that I feel in my heart that people need to be uplifted. I'll just have like this feeling like, I feel like somebody needs this right now, so I'll make a post, and it'll be like some type of word of encouragement. And I remember seeing this girl one time. She was like down and out. Her mother had died or whatever. And, she every other post was like, man, it was kind of like she was ready to kill herself. You know what I mean? And so I had read this one particular post, and I decided to send her a message, and gave her some words of encouragement, that and the third, and told her like, yo, you look just like your mom. So if anything, you're gonna be living out your life as if she wanted it to be. And that's how you're gonna bring your mother back, is through the resurrection of the morals that she instilled in you. Living out those morals that she instilled in you is what's gonna bring your mother back. And she was like, wow, like she was blown away by me saying that. And then I'll put little posts here and there. And she hit me up randomly one day. And she was like, yeah, I just wanted to thank you. I forgot. This was like months ago. This was like close to almost a year later. She hit me up and was like, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate your kind words. You have no idea as to how much that means to me. Yada yada. I was able to go through this, that, and the third. And while I'm reading there, I got a random message from someone else that I didn't even know was. They never liked my posts, any of that. I know they're on my friends list, but they never liked any of my posts, nothing. They never made a comment or anything. And they sent me a similar message. Like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you and your posts. I noticed you haven't posted anything in a while. I just want to see, make sure everything's okay. I really miss reading a lot of your posts. And she told me that what she does is when she's having a bad day, she'll go on my wall and scroll down my newsfeed to read old posts that I posted to keep her going for the day. I had no idea. That blew my mind. Like I almost cried just knowing that, like, what I've done friggin' was helping somebody that much. You know what I'm saying? And so I know I'm drawing this out a little bit, but this is the importance of leading from the front, because you never know who's watching you from a distance. They're not watching you when you're close. It's when you're far away. Like, I'm scanning the gym right now, and as I look around, people are staring at me, and then when they make eye contact with me, they look away. Because now I'm close. My eyes draw near, and they're like, oh, God, this is it over there. Oh. You know what I'm saying? But they're watching from a distance. You know what I'm saying? People are watching from a distance. Pay attention to your surroundings. You're going to notice people that you're not even affiliated with are watching. There's always somebody watching. Well, I'm going to leave you guys with that. My recovery time is down, so now I got to start all over with my warm-ups. But, yeah, man, close us out. Close us out, Jay.
All right, so, yeah, great job, Zay. A lot of good points. Hope you guys took some great notes. We'll close it out with this final statement. In the leadership position, as leaders, which if you called in tonight, you're either already a leader or you're aspiring to lead, a group of people. So as leaders, we must have a clear vision on where we're going. And the people who are following us must also have that same clear vision, but an even clearer understanding of where we're going and why we're going there. Because people will line up to follow you just because someone else they know is following you, or because they're curious on where the group is going. Like, wait, all these people they're following this guy. Well, why are they following? Where are they going? Like, you ever seen something happening and a group of people start moving towards the area, like in a store or something, and then people just fall in line and start following that group? And they're like, what happened? And people are like, I don't know what happened. Let's go see. Because they just want to get in with that crowd because they're curious. They see a movement, and it's like, wow, these people are all together, like, because there's power in numbers. So they see a group of people moving towards one thing, and they want to get into that group to see what's going on. But what you want to do is you want to weed those type of people out, because if you're going to lead a group of people, everybody needs to be in sync. Everybody needs to have, a clear understanding on what the vision is and how you're going to get there and what it's going to take to get there. And once you have a small group of people locked in on that, you're leading people to the finish line every single time, without question. So we'll end it with that. Right now, if anyone has any questions or would like us to comment on any scenarios or anything like that, now would be the time. Just unmute your line and feel free to ask or comment anything you would like.